Oh boy, here we go. What is up, guys? Welcome to Truth and Transparency. Dude, I've been working nonstop. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I got this bad boy. I got this platinum. Let's see, take a look. This is the official mobile. It is raised off the ground, but this is how dark it would have been. Maybe a little bit less, But I wanted to show a little bit of a reenactment here. I have a tape measure and everything. But welcome. I'll let you guys come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Taking a look here at this big old Toyota Tundra. Hold on 1 second. Unlock all the way. All right. It is raised. Duck, duck, goose. All right, let's take a look. It's 4 doors, by the way. Let's take a look. Idaho. Idaho. JLR Jr. right here. Don't mind if I do. Yeah. This truck, okay? But I have to get up in this fucker. All right, I got my little flip-flops on. But it is so raised. I took all the measurements. Okay? You are so raised. Like, you want to shoot out of this window. If you were to just, shoot out this window, you are so high off the ground. And what I wanted to compare it to, what they were trying to say is somebody driving by, pulling up and shooting from the vehicle window in through then Dr. Drake's window of his office, okay? You guys, you can't. Oh, we can turn this all day the other way. My phone's on lock, so just enjoy what you can. You are so high off the ground, and I wanted to compare it to where the windows were than at Drake's place. So in order to do this, I needed the Tundra. Well, I got the fucking Tundra, and so we were able to take the measurements. Measured the whole thing, okay? Went through Dr. Drake's complete day on 3/12/2020. I know every patient that he saw. I know what time they were there, what time they left. So I can take it off the list that Dr. Drake, unless all of these people are lying, Dr. Drake was alive on 3/12/2020. I mean, look at how tall this is. It's high. It's high off the ground. Anyways, what's up, guys? I don't know if you guys can hear me. So I feel like I said, JLR. Come on in, guys. Come on in. Yeah. So took all the measurements. This is the same exact truck that they said that Dr. Moore was in. Well, I hate to break it to you guys, but first of all, this truck's badass. But there's no way anybody shot anybody up out of this truck. You're way too tall. You're way too high up. You're just way too high up the ground. So, woohoo! Yep. So what I did is I took all the measurements, just so you guys can see it. I want you guys to see this amount. It's 24 inches off, just like basically right where I guess you could say the bumper begins is 24. Now, where somebody's hand and arm would be sticking out of the vehicle, Okay, right here. I'm gonna give you guys that. I know, Lana, why didn't you do this earlier when it wasn't so dark? It's 5 feet, bitches! Let's take a look. Yeah, 5 feet. 60 inches. All right, so 60 inches is where if you're sitting in this vehicle and you have your hand out the window with a gun, and now the best part about it is, okay, let me just show you guys something. If you're shooting obviously out the window in the playing field or the level field that you would have, you guys, the window at Drake's place, it starts at like my midline, like my waist is where the window starts. So I'm gonna flip on a different camera and I'm gonna talk to you guys a little bit about Drake's place. Again, the Toyota Tundra, driven by Dr. Moore that day, that night, that they are placing allegedly, circling around like Brian Culver's car that night. Well, I can prove all of that not true, but I want to do the measurements. I did the measurements. Go ahead and shut this off. Okay. I didn't even have to steal the car. All right. So hold on here. So let's go take a sample of like a window, for example, so I can show you over here. I have a light. All right. So take a look at this. This is the same. Oh, look at my little friend. So take a look. This ledge, this window, okay? Put you down for a second there, guys. Welcome to JLR. All right, so right here in the corner is where the corner of the window is where this bullet came through allegedly that so this is like see a window like that length, okay? Think about your bullet going through literally that bottom corner of the window right here. Okay? The blinds were bent. That's where the window has the hole. All right, now take a look. How in the fuck can you? It is 3 feet, okay? 36 inches is where the window would begin. 36 inches. See, like as tall as like I am, like my waist. So how in the world can you be in a Tundra that's up, way up here, all right? You have to like be pointing down to hit through this window at such an angle, but then how is the trajectory of the bullet, which is upwards? How is that possible? Well, let me tell you guys something. It fucking isn't, okay? This is 100% scientifically impossible, all right? Hold on. Huh? Yeah, you could say, well, you'll be on, your voice will be recorded.
So the thing is, going out is windows on the right, which meant you'd have a shot through the passenger window.
Or you'd have to go through or you'd be driving the wrong way, right?
Right, and they never saw it. They saw the window the wrong way.
Okay. So the other thing that we want to point out is that right here is your 5 feet mark. So like if you're sitting actually in the truck, you have to you're way up here. Like that's how high you're up. All right. That's your level point. Is right there. But the bullet came down through here. More importantly, you would have to be going the opposite way through the drive-through. Otherwise, you'd be shooting literally through the passenger side window as well. Okay, which, come on now. All right. But just so everybody can see, when you have a bullet that's going down through here in this bottom corner, all right, literally that is at my hip. Like, I can't even, I would have to be, I'd have to be down here on my knees, okay? Down on my knees, bent on my knees, all right? On my knees, and like to be able to shoot at this level, all right? No knock on Dr. Moore or whatever, but I'm sure he's not getting all fours to shoot through a window like that. I don't think anybody is. Because then the best part about it is that how do you have shooting downward through here? How is it then an upward angle that the bullet entered the man's body, meaning Dr. Drake's body? How is that possible? And guess what? Ding, ding, ding. It's not possible. But I wanted to make sure we did it with the Tundra, and we did it with the Tundra. So, first of all, how can even see where? Okay, now also picture this. These are closed blinds, all right? Now, these are a little better modeled blinds, all right? But I can't see through there, okay? They were closed, but I mean, they weren't as like great quality, but still they were closed blinds. Also, there were 2 shots. The 911 call has 2 shots. They fudged the reports to say that there was only 1 gunshot. Well, nope, the CAD notes say from the 911 caller, and then I listened again, they called in 2 shots. And it's like, where are these shell casings? Well, according to the lovely ISP, they said that, they could be in the vehicle. So that's why nobody had to get out and pick them up, because they could be actually in the vehicle still that they shot out of. I said, oh, wait, the vehicle or the truck that you're putting Dr. Moore in? Because I thought Dr. Moore was out running around, I thought he shot him on foot. So now they're saying that there couldn't be casings gone because the casings were actually in the vehicle that shot, Dr. Drake. Then they had the fucking balls to say that, or they got lodged into one of the officer's boots at the scene. I said, wait, so now you're going to put the casings inside the fucking room of the killer who didn't ever enter the room? And if I didn't believe it myself until I heard the man say it. And when I say the man, I'm talking about your ISP detectives, Van Leuven and Tolson, saying this. Saying that the reason that those shell casings weren't there is because maybe it was a revolver, or maybe that they were in the car that they shot out of, or maybe that the officers that were there at the scene, that they got them, slugged up in their boot while they were walking around. I said, whoa. I said, I can't even believe that y'all said that. I mean, even if that's truly what happened, but doesn't that kind of contradict everything about your case? Because the shooter did not shoot Dr. Drake in his office. He was outside, and he shot through the window, right? Or was that shot through the window what I would call a, I guess you could say like a dummy shot, to act like that's what happened. Anyways, Unreal is right. Just trying to show you guys, though, that this just doesn't make any sense, right? Doesn't at all. Now, Ford F-150 is even higher now.
I don't know. I'm just saying that is not a Ford F-150. They don't even look like a Ford F-150.
Well, we got a lot of people that drove Ford F-150s.
And it's just plain stupid.
Oh. It is plain stupid. So again, what is up, guys? Welcome to Truth and Transparency Live. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the Drake Moore case. Who really killed Dr. Drake? I can tell you it was not Dr. Moore. But let's take a look at what I've been doing. I just haven't slept in like a couple days, but that's okay. Let's see. I'm going this way. Oh, what's that? Sugar cookie? Did you get that from Bonner's Ferry?
No. Not getting anything from that.
No, we're not buying anything from Bonner's Ferry anymore.
No,
Let's see. Oh. Me and Miss Moore are gonna have some pickles. We like pickles. Let's see here. Hold on, I'm gonna switch that over to a different camera. I had to get my pickles on though. Let's see. Boy, boy, boy. Okie dokie 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 dokie. Whoa. What is up? Hi guys. Just had to do a little switch around. It's hard working on the road. No wonder JLR has, he's always come on in, come on in. Let's take a look. Share some screens here. Is that JLR with you? No, guys, don't be silly. Cancel that. Just trying to share my screen, B. There we go. Google Earth. All right, let's take a look. You guys should be able to see this now. Boom. All right. Hi. All right, take a look. This is the building, of course, famous building. Shot through the window here, as you can see how low that window is. Okay, that's why I measured everything. Now I got some more info. We're gonna go like this. So right here, that's your window. See, this is like that drive-through. This is your coffee shop there. So think about it. If you're going the right way, like how this car is coming, if you're in the think about this, if you're two people, then obviously your passenger can be taking the shot to just put it to like show there's a shot there, whatever, just to shoot out the window or whatever. But there is no motherfucking way that anybody in any vehicle took a shot through that window at a downward angle, but then it was an upward angle into his body. Impossible. Just wanted to show you guys that. So their little theory on how everything went down, totally wrong. Janet is tired of the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce saga. I don't even know if my team won today. So, but let's talk about what I can tell you guys that I found. Be hard to get that upward shot, right? 100% impossible, 100%. But so I was able to talk to some people, and let's see. I have 37 pages of reports that I did. Each page signifies like anybody that's been interviewed in this case. I think that the most important thing that we should talk about is timeline, due to the fact that what ISP did in the Brian Colbert case, they laid out that elaborate like timeline of like, at this time the car was circling at 329, at 326 it was over on Indian, you know. They did kind of the same thing, and I say kinda, it's exactly what they did in this case. What I mean by that, those of you guys that are members, I put out a document that you guys would have been able to see. Had a bunch of cameras and timestamps of these cameras. So I'm going to share the screen to show you guys those timestamps to show how ridiculous this is. Let's see if I can do it like this. I'm going to email this to myself. I left Hector the projector at home. Told him he could have vacation. I wasn't going to pay him time and a half, so. Oh, man. No, that's not going to work. I don't even know what I'm printing right now, guys. Just don't even ask. Boom. Got this bad boy, though. All right, let's take a look. You guys can thank me later. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. All right. Boom. Okay. Hi. I'll make it bigger. There you go. 601. Moore's truck, westbound, Alderson right turn, northbound US 95. 601 and 15 seconds. Moore's truck, northbound, US 95, passing Columbia Bank. 601 and 18 seconds. Moore's truck, northbound, US 95, passing the liquor store. 602 and 22 seconds. Moore's truck, northbound, US 95, passing Mr. Suds. Okay, take a look at this though. 601 and 44 seconds. Moore's truck. So 22 seconds after the 601 and 22, Mr. Suds. Well, Mr. Suds, far north, like 22 seconds, like, what are you doing? Like, that's all right there. How can that possibly be? So that's why that's highlighted, because it's not right. Then 601 and 43 seconds. Well, that comes after 601 and 44 seconds. So we know that that's totally not right. 602 on the dot. Okay. So then like 15, 16 seconds later, Moore's truck, northbound, US 95, passing CarQuest. Okay. We go a little bigger here. Ooh, Lana. All right. 602 and 14 seconds to Millette's house. Moore's truck, northbound on US 95, turning east on Harrison. 602 and 22 seconds, passing Dr. Guyman's office towards Millette's house. Okay. Now, 602 to 713 in 8 seconds. You know, no action.
no action. All right. Well, there's a ton of action, but they just don't think it's relevant. Okay. So again, think about the Idaho 4 case. All right. So wait for it. Here it comes. Here is the very same thing that they did in the Idaho 4 case. All right. That they did in this case. Same fucking detectives that are doing their shit. 7:13 and 8 seconds. From Millett's house, Moore's truck, westbound Harrison turns south on Hillside Alley. 7:13 and 3 seconds. I said, what the fuck again? This is, do you guys not know how to count? This is 5 seconds after. Okay. Vehicle headlights on ground. Like, how can this be after? He'd already passed whatever, you know what I mean? It's out of order. So then 7:13 and 24 seconds, Moore's truck westbound, and that's the El Paso. That's the street behind Dr. Drake's building and the far in the north far or whatever, the coffee place. 7:13 and 37 seconds. That's a street that's used as, like, instead of going on US 95, people go down that street. Okay. Now take a look at this. 7:14 and 30 seconds. Okay, so that would be almost a minute later. So Moore's truck westbound behind church. This is like Denver Street, okay? 7:14 and 40 seconds, so that's 10 seconds later. Moore's truck northbound on Denver between Mr. Suds and church. 7:14 and 50 seconds, Moore's truck northbound on Denver turns northbound on US 95. And I'm like, this is all out of order. 7:14 and 45, 7:14 and 40, like they're going backwards now. Okay. And I'm like, who the hell can possibly turn this in and think that this is going to work? Okay. Like, none of this is going to work, right? If you have a car going and you're following it, it should be continuing to add time, you know? You can't look at a camera and go, oh, that's the same vehicle if it's moving this one way and you're going backwards in time. It doesn't make any sense, right? It doesn't even make a lick of any sense. Exactly, Miss Kelly. Welcome. Good to see you. Good to see your name. So, but right here, then this is what they say happens. 7:14, you know, 40. So then almost 2 minutes and 20 seconds goes by for they're gonna then give this next update. Moore's truck turns south on El Paso from P lot west of Tyler. Okay. And don't worry, I'm going to show you guys what this would look like on, you know, Google. Now, 7:17 and 53 seconds, so about 8 seconds then. Second time, look at second time. Moore's truck is now making another loop around, just like they're trying to say Brian Kohlberger's vehicle was doing that night. You know, just, you know, came by at 3:29, then it came by again. It was just making these loops. Okay. I've never heard of I've never heard of a department truly giving very similar circumstantial evidence on how they got to their person. Okay. And it's this like these cameras that they're allegedly saying that are these people, yet no camera has any license plates, nothing. And they're so grainy, and these officers are admitting that when they're interviewing people, how grainy they are. So here we go. Now, 7:17, again, 7:17, 53, 7:17 and 52 seconds. I said, oh God, here we go again. We're just going to go backwards. Moore's truck northbound on Denver, northbound 95 into far north parking lot now. Around the logo shop, through drive-through, past fired something around the other side, backs up, then out northbound. This is what this vehicle is doing. It's, 7:18 and 20 seconds. Moore's truck northbound on Denver turns northbound on US 95 for a second time. 7:18 and, I don't know if they just wrote that twice and didn't realize it. Or they might have been using a different camera because they used 18 business cameras to do this. 7:20 and 22 seconds. Moore's truck northbound on US 95 passing El Paso again, just circling around. 7:20 and 35 seconds. Moore's truck northbound on US 95 turns east on Harrison, parks at his office. Now they're saying now Dr. Moore is now at his office at 7:20 and 35 seconds. Then at 7:23, 00 on the dot, they see Moore's truck lights flash as indicating that he locked his truck, okay? 7:24 and 30 seconds. Figure seen walking left to right, west across El Paso Street at Tyler. And then at 7:26 p.m., the murder occurred, okay? Now listen to how married they are to this timeline. 7:27 and 35 seconds, so 1 minute and 35 seconds after the murder occurred because of Jennifer Drake saying that's when the murder occurred. There's a figure seen walking right to left in front of the building south of Moore's office. Okay, you guys, the guy that is walking, guess who obtained the video? This girl. I got the video of this dude that's walking. This guy is like with the Crips or the Bloods, all right? This dude is wearing the baggiest of baggiest clothes. He is young. He is, I don't know if you want to use the word I used the word that I thought maybe he was like a little handicapped or something, but not really. I don't know if he was just like off a little bit. But this motherfucker is not Dr. Moore, period. Dr. Moore is 60 years old, okay? And this video, clear as day, is not even dressed all in black. He has khaki pants on with a black hoodie's up. He's just, well, maybe we'll just let you see the video, right? So continuing on, 7:27 and 41 seconds, the figure seen running now right to left, east cross El Paso near Tyler, then in front of building back toward, okay? And so I said to myself, wait a second. Their story is that the murder was on foot. The murder was on foot. But they're circling around, like they're looking at all these vehicles, but by the time they decide to put this all together, they go, okay, the murder was on foot. So think about this. Think about Brian Kohlberger circling around, and then finally he goes and parks somewhere and then walks into the house, right? And then they say, well, we don't know if there's any footage of, somebody walking in there or not, right? Well, I can tell you what, if it is anything that the ISP team got, okay, up in Bonners Ferry for this case, then I can only imagine who they think Brian Kohlberger is on camera, okay? To compare a 20-something-year-old to a 60-year-old man is just, there's just no words, okay? And they give a positive identification. The 911 caller, his girlfriend positively identifies this guy as not Dr. Moore, but instead a guy that was a suspect early on, positively identifies him from a photo. The cops lie and say that there was never any identifications made, ever. Well, they said that Dr. Moore wasn't positively identified. Misleading in the PCA, but there was a positively identified person. And the lady knew. She was like, he was, oh my God, he had really dark skin. He was like kind of like the guy that used to work at the Liberty gas station, but like not, And then her boyfriend felt the same way. Then they saw a picture. They were like, and she's like, oh my God, that's him. That's him. That's him. But here, the ISP is saying they know that this figure walking is not Dr. Moore, and they're acting like it. This is their evidence. But yet they know that this is not him. And they know that when these two people would be called to the stand to look at the video, they're going to say, have you seen this before? Yeah. Who did you say it was? Oh, we said we positively identified a person. Now, isn't that just wild? Now, compare that shit, okay? Compare that shit to the Idaho 4 case. Now, I know why Richard Batantio, or whatever his last name is, was saying that Bethany had some exculpatory evidence. Well, I bet you Bethany is kind of like the 911 caller in Dr. Moore's case, where I identified who it was. I told them I picked the person. That's what I can start seeing now. Now, moving on. I'm gonna have to crack a nice Coca-Cola. Check this out. Let's go like this. Check it out. So they know, cops know that this is not Moore. Now it's 7:28 and 47 seconds. Lights flash on Moore's truck. Video segment ends, missing approximately 30 seconds of the video. How fucking convenient is that? 7:29 and 19 seconds. Moore is back to Millette's house. That is the coroner. Moore's truck driving east on Harrison from his office. 7:29 and 37 seconds. Side of Moore's truck driving east on Harrison. 7:35 and 35 seconds. Oh, wait. So 6 minutes later, from Millette's house, Moore's truck westbound on Harrison turns northbound US 95. Well, at 7:35 p.m., the same dude that was walking around, he's now taking the back tunnels and back trails. That's like the Indian Reserve part. And it takes you back up. It's a 3-mile walk. And this guy takes it all the way back to his hotel room that he had been staying in for 60 days. He's a transient from Michigan. Went ahead and deep dived the fuck out of him. His name's Stephen Hartman. And guess who interviewed him? Why would the FBI interview him? The FBI did no interviews except for one. And that was that same night, within 12 to 24 hours. The FBI Violent Crimes Task Force or some shit. I said, the FBI is they're not even involved in this case. Okay. And check this out. His family owned an F-150 truck. How do you know this? Because I talked to him on the phone. You just call people up and talk to them. You'd be amazed what happens when you just pick up the phone and start calling people. 7:35 and 40. Moore's truck. Bum bum. 7:37. Moore's truck. Cody behind the community thrift store. Well, now check this out. 7:37, 18 seconds. I went ahead and looked, and so you're basically saying that Dr. Moore's truck is on Cody Street, where there's all these cops looking for this alleged, shooter because of, the 911 call in. And these cops don't even know where it's at because it was never called in at that time by Jennifer Drake. So they just reported over to different roads and stuff like that. They didn't know that they were going to 60 6811 Main Street, because the 911 call that came in just said that they heard gunshots. They didn't know. So that's where these cops were. They were over on Cody Street. Well, that's where you're saying Dr. Moore's truck is? So Dr. Moore is just driving by the police? Again, there's one at 18 seconds and 22 seconds. So now we're going backwards again at 16 seconds. Now we're going to jump up, then this one, I mean, anyways. So I basically said, okay, well, this is the time that they're saying the murder occurred. This is their married timeline. So how can we prove that Dr. Moore didn't do this? Well, we're going to just prove that these aren't his trucks or whatever. Well, no, I think some of them are, but not all of them are. And regardless if some of them were, your shooter is on fucking foot. So to me, it doesn't matter where this fucking truck is or anybody's car is, right? Unless you're going to take everybody's car and look at them during this timeline. So I went ahead and made another call. Because there seems to be a little hiccup with all of Jennifer Drake's friends and their stories. And did you guys know, I'm sure you guys know this, but I'll leave you guys with a little cliffhanger. You guys know that when you, what's the word I want to use? When you tell your pastor things and you go to like talk to a priest and you like tell a priest, like, you can tell a priest whatever the fuck you want and they can't do anything. Like they can't do anything. Like they really can't call up the police and be like, hey, I'm going to report my, somebody in my parish here that called me up to confess and had a confessional. And, that's not how that works. Okay. So, so guess what? Yeah. So like, yeah, it's privilege. You guys know, right? There we go. Good. Nine-year-old girl missing from campground, upstate New York. Bicycle found at 6:45. Thanks, Gina, for sharing. Hopefully you guys are helping out on that case. JLR might be able to help. He might be able to get out and around. Yes. There you go, Theodore. Theodore, yes. It's privileged, okay? And, well, one of Jennifer's pastors did a interview with the police and had his lawyer present. Oh, shit. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that nuts? But I was more interested in the time frames of things, How did you hear about this? How does anybody hear about this murder, right? Because Jennifer Drake's on the phone. Well, then I come to find out that she drove up to Bonner's Ferry with her friend Amber, who runs the church. She's the admin. But everybody got their stories all mixed up. Amber's husband couldn't keep it straight. Their friend Josh couldn't keep it straight. They couldn't get straight who was Jennifer driving or was Amber driving. What time did they go up there? And then they were saying, yeah, everybody was trying to call Brian and Brian wasn't answering anybody's calls. Well, nobody was fucking calling Brian. Then Spencer kind of slips up and he says that he put his kids to bed at like 7 or 7:30. And then he had to walk that back when he realized, wait, it's kind of early. And then Spencer said that, yeah, my wife got a call from Jennifer. She was hysterical at 7:30. Well, I have Jennifer's phone records, and that didn't happen. Jennifer and Amber didn't talk until 8:07 p.m. And he said he stayed home so that she was just hysterical because, Brian said that he got shot or something, and that, then he's not answering any calls. And then he said that Amber drove over to Jen's, and then she drove with Jen to go to Bonners Ferry, but then they got a phone call on their way there that Brian was dead. What? And then so they turned around, and then they all went back to Amber's house, and everybody met there for 30 minutes. And I'm like, everybody? Who's everybody? What the fuck? And then everybody left Amber and Spencer's house, and they went over to Jen's house, and everybody met over there. And I said, okay. Interesting. I said, but then why is Jen calling hospitals and 911 between 8:40 and 9 o'clock? I said, you guys might want to get your story straight before Lana comes through and rips it to fucking shreds, because she's coming. He must have been praying in the hotter with them. Then nobody can get it straight. Were Jen and Brian Drake, were the Drakes marriage counselors or not? And we do know that if Jennifer Drake does not try to sue for more money, none of this would have come out. This would have all stayed quiet. This all came out because of a civil suit that Jennifer Drake took on to sue Dr. Moore and his wife for wrongful death. Well, Jennifer, I have a question. Why did your son at 6:50 p.m. call Mr. Fish, Dwayne Fish, about 30, 40 minutes before the shooting occurred, allegedly, to tell him that his dad had just been shot in the leg? In the leg? Where would Brenner get a story about? Where would Brenner hear that Drake, his dad, got shot in the leg, and that he was relaying this to Dwayne Fish because he was supposed to work with him the next day? And at 6:50, Brenner called me. I said, 6:50 p.m.? Like 30, 40 minutes before the shooting? That his dad was shot in the leg. In the leg? How would anybody know where anybody was shot at that point? Unless you're there when someone gets shot, or unless you think that that's where you shot somebody. But a lot of weird stuff going on in Idaho. Then I said, well, maybe Dwayne Fish is messed up. Maybe it's not 6:50, maybe it's 7:50. Do you understand that'd be before Amber ever got a phone call? Even if, let's say, Dwayne Fish is off by an hour. Let's just hypothetically throw that out there. Play devil's advocate. Say he's off an hour. Why would Dwayne Fish, of all the people in the world, be called? And then I said, and at 7:50, I said, how does Brenner even know anything like this has even happened? When did Jennifer talk to Brenner? What do those phone records look like? Why is Brenner under the impression that his dad's still alive all through the night? Jennifer just tells him to go to sleep. She'll know, like, she probably won't know anything until the morning. Just go to sleep. The fuck? And then Dwayne Fish was like, I said I would go over to the house, And then Brenner said he's already with somebody. Who was Brenner with at 7:50 or at 6:50? Brenner was supposed to be by himself picking up the kids from the croc. And if Jennifer was at home when this all happened, then why wasn't she doing the pickup duties for the kids or going and watch her other younger son do Lostology, big old speech? She told America that her daughter was sitting on the couch next to her when she was talking to Brian and when all of that happened. Well, that's all a fucking lie. Her daughter was at a girls' little get-together sleepover at her friend's house. What's her name? Let's see here. Oh yeah, Beth Milligan. Hey Beth, can you keep Aubrey? Sounds great. See you guys in the morning. This is bonkers. You're damn right. This is sick. You know what's even sicker about it is that either we have the most inept ISP2 detectives ever, okay? Or they knew about it all and were told to bury it. And we're going to bury it by framing a guy? But it's the same people that are doing the Idaho 4 case. Same people that Ann Taylor wants a hell of fucking information on, named Gary Tolson. No, this is massive corruption, and that's sick, is what Kay Baker says. Ms. Kelly says, oh, wow, this is just unbelievable, right? Let's see what else. There's another big, like, whoa. Let's see. Who was it? Then I had the pleasure of talking to, let's see. Lacey Savage. Now, she's a badass. Lacey Savage is a badass. I couldn't stop laughing because Lacey was like, that perv Drake. I said, excuse me? She says, I told the police what a perv he was. I told my bosses what a perv he was. I said, are you talking about Dr. Drake? And she's like, yeah. I was like in my early 20s when he worked at the place that we worked at. Well, I wasn't his assistant, but like I was Crawford and Elliott's assistant. But Drake was one of the chiropractors there, and he slapped my ass and said, oh, whoops, I thought you were my wife. And I said, excuse me? She's like, I reported him. I said, to who? She said, to Crawford and Elliott. I said, what? She said, yeah. I said, what else? And she said, well, then this one time I was wearing a baseball cap. And he comes in early and he's like, oh, I love a girl in a cap, like in a ball cap or something. And I was like, okay, anything else? And then she said, I don't know, there was this one time I was like trying to get something down, like, up on a counter or something. So I had to like get up kind of on a counter. And then he walks in, he's like, oh, that's a good position. What? Yeah. And she's like, I mean, the guy is a total fucking creep perv. I said, well, don't you kind of feel like that's sexual harassment? She's like, yeah, I was in my early 20s and I really wish I would have done something about it. She's like, but I was just so young then. She's like, but I did tell Crawford and Elliot about it. I said, well, by God. I said, he really slapped you on your ass? And she said, oh, God, yeah. And then he said, oh, whoops, sorry, I thought you were my wife. I said, oh, my God. I said, I don't know what's worse, the slap or like the comment afterwards. So I don't, and I said, this was recent, right? She's like, well, I don't know. It was between 2013, 2015, because I was back and forth. She was traveling. She travels all over. She's like, the police asked me where I was that night. I was like, oh, you took out the guy. And I was just like, wow, like, okay. I was like, I can't believe that your bosses didn't really kind of do anything. And she's like, well, I really don't know what happened, but yeah. So Lacey was a badass though. She was like that perv. Straight up just said, he's a fucking perv. That perv. Like, I was like, okay. See, I was like, I think it's pretty cool. Well, let's see. Oh. Then I talked to this traveling nurse. It's a guy. He just started to be a traveling nurse like August of 2019. So not that long before, I don't know, 6-9 months before the murder. But he was a traveling nurse for like Life Flight or whatever. And I remembered it because they were alerted that night, but it got like canceled. And something that I thought was interesting is that he said that he works, I don't know, 12 or 24-hour shifts or something like that. And so there was a call that came in, and it would have been his, and it said Bonners Ferry, but it got canceled, really quick. So there was no pilot, no takeoff, and that a couple hours had passed at like 8. What did he say? Let's see. I think he said, yeah, he got a call like 8:32 from Spencer, Amber's, husband. And he told me that Brian had been shot in the leg, and that's all that they know. He's just not answering anybody's calls. And then so this traveling nurse, Dan, put 2 and 2 together and was like, oh my God, we got a call from Bonners. That's where we're supposed to go do our Life Flight. But it got canceled right away. And that either happens because, you're dead, or it's not that bad. You don't need us. Okay. And Dan was like, I just took it upon myself to make some phone calls with, how EMS is, they all talk to each other. So he took it upon himself, made some phone calls, and he was able to talk to one of the EMSs that actually was on scene at, Brian Drake's office. And he was able to get confirmation that it was a code whatever, and that it was deceased male in his 40s, Brian Drake. And that he gave the information then. He called Spencer back and gave him that information. And then Spencer relayed that information to Amber and Jennifer. Now, this is what was happening. You have Amber and Jennifer in a vehicle, which nobody knows if it was in Jennifer's vehicle or if it was in Amber's vehicle, because you have multiple conflicting stories. Then you have the pastor that got in his vehicle named Sean and his wife, Micah Owens, and they started heading north. Okay. And then there was a guy named Dwayne Fish who was going to get in his car, you know, and head north and go be by Brian's side. All these people are just driving, heading north, not knowing where they're going. They thought maybe we'll go to these hospitals. We didn't know anything. We were just all driving north. And then they get a phone call, you know, that, and I said, what time was that again? At 8:32 was when Spencer called me. And then by the time I made mine, I said, interesting, 8:32. I said, okay, so then I look at what was Jennifer doing after 8:32? Well, then Jennifer just started calling hospitals, and then Jennifer called 911. Jennifer got her 911 call in. Why is she calling the sheriff's department? Why is she calling Coonan County Sheriff's Department and doing a 911 call at 8:59 p.m. if she's already been notified that her husband's, you know, is that what tipped her off to get her little 911 call in? I don't know. What time did Jennifer Drake do her 911 call? Sitcom material, right? This is crazy. Big Mike said, Shelly, why don't go? I can see your comment, Shelly. What's up, Gloria? I don't know, you're trying to get in touch with people during chat. If you could just email. I don't know what's I get emails all the time, guys. Atlanta, I can't get unblocked with my own account now, Atlanta. Well, you're right here, Gloria. We can see you. Sometimes it takes the system a little bit. Sometimes YouTube has a mind of its own. It's nothing personal. We love everybody. But anyways, this is just wild, right? You know? But the best part about it is, guys, is that they're all fucking lying. You know? It's all fucking wild shit. And just breaking down the barriers. Oh, this is Shelly using Gloria's account, Atlanta. Oh, hi. Well, welcome, Gloria's account. Anyways. But the people that are lying, guys, it's a core group of friends, and I believe that two of them were adamant about not being interviewed. You know, you do have the right not to not to be questioned and interviewed. You have the right not to talk to the police, and there's a lot of things that people aren't aware about. But I don't know why good friends of Jennifer would not want to be interviewed and have her back on her story. You know, I would think that if I was with my friend when all of this happened, you know, I would be having my friend's back if it truly went down in that manner. But maybe I wouldn't want to be interviewed if I was like, holy shit, you know? Whoa. But it wasn't just one. And I want to know why Jennifer Drake was never a fucking suspect. That just blows my mind. And you cannot say, oh, because she wasn't out in Bonner's Ferry. You know how many fucking women hire people to shoot people? That should happen. Look at the Jared Bridegan case. Are you kidding me? That's like the perfect example. Like that shit happens all the time. And sometimes you don't even have to hire the people because people do it because, oh my God, I'm in love with you. I'll go kill them for you. You know, shit like that. But wow, you think to yourself, Jennifer, if I would have never sued the Moores, none of this would be coming out right now. because Lana would have never seen any of it. Lana wouldn't have got her hands, because Lana was tracking down Gary Tolson and his amazing law enforcement career. So, you know, but this narrative is completely bullshit. But it's a narrative that looks very similar to the Idaho 4 case, in my opinion. This fucking shit right here, maybe you should have asked Dr. Moore a couple things about this, okay? Instead of framing the man for murder. But you guys are gonna look like a bunch of fucking fools when this all comes out. And you know what the kicker is? When I have to read that there's guys out there that were taking counseling for pornographic problems, like sex addiction guys that are going and talking with Brian Drake, I'm like, this guy is the biggest hornball there is. And he's counseling people. That is wild to me. It's because why? Do people think that he kicked his addiction? Or, I mean, is it just like a big inside joke? Then I found out they were having group meetings on Wednesdays at the house. Like it was like supper club or some shit. And they only let their core group of friends come over. And it was just like 3 couples. I was just a lot of wild stuff going on. Is Dr. Moore suing? Hell yeah, he's suing. They've been suing. They've been going back and forth for a while. Again, that's how I came across all of it. It's all public knowledge. Just go look at those lovely civil suits that are put out there. I mean, none of these people knew who Brian Drake was. These people that call themselves friends of Brian Drake, they didn't know Brian Drake. Brian Drake was controlled by his wife. Literally. You know, he's miserable as fuck. The guy says he slipped on ice in February 4th or 5th, slipped on some ice outside, and that he twisted and broke his leg in some ridiculous fashion that's not even the type of fall and break that would happen. Brian Drake, 6 months before that, had something happen to his back. He had back surgery. Then the church is just giving them money. Yet all of his friends think that they're making in the mid 6 figures. It's like, what the fuck? Why would you be giving a guy money if you think that he makes in the mid 6 figures? I don't care if he wasn't taking any patients for a couple, weeks or a couple months. I think a guy that, if you think he's making mid 6 figures, I think he probably has some money saved away for, if he was out of commish for a couple weeks. Why was his friend Josh Sprague walking around asking people to donate money quietly? And how come Brian Drake didn't know anything about this? Like, what? Like, what's going on? How come Brian Drake was staying up in Bonners Ferry when he didn't even have to be in Sandpoint anymore, because he didn't even have an office in Sandpoint? He wasn't even seeing anybody in Sandpoint. The only reason he was staying up in Bonners Ferry on the Mondays and Thursday nights is so that he didn't have to drive like back and forth, because he had patients in Sandpoint on Tuesday. And it's like the midpoint between Hayden and Bonners Ferry. But if you're not actually seeing patients in Sandpoint, there's no reason to spend the night up in Bonners Ferry. And then who has a broken leg and sleeps on a pull-out couch? I know I wouldn't. If I'm making 6 figures, I'm not sleeping in my office. And so that's where all of your patients come in and sit, and you're sleeping on this fucking thing and pulling it out every night. That's crazy. Don't you think that's wild? I mean, talk about and then how is he showering? Where is he showering? Oh, he's just like showering at the gym. What? Like he's living like a truck driver. Like that's what and I'm like, this is insanity, you know what I mean? And the best part about it is do you guys know to this day, nobody asked Jennifer Drake, hey, Jennifer, tell us about your day. What did you do on March 12th, 2020? What'd you do? You know that not one ISP investigator asked that woman that question. Where was she? Tell me about, okay, what'd you do? What happened before that? Okay, then what'd you do after that? This woman has been tossed every softball. Okay, fuck just her, everybody. No, they're asking the damn milkman where he was. Okay, and they're not asking Jennifer Drake where she was on March 12th. Well, I was at my home and okay, so oh wait, why are you texting with your son and saying that you're talking to the police when you weren't? Your son's trying to call you and try to talk to you. I'm on the phone with the police right now. Oh, well, then you look at the Jennifer's phone records and, oh, no, she wasn't talking to the police. She was talking to Steve Minert. Who's Steve fucking Minert? Why wasn't he questioned by the police? I mean, if this is how they ran the Idaho 4 case, I can only imagine who the fuck they were interviewing. For heaven's sakes, Enan Harsh wasn't even interviewed, and all of you guys think he's a fucking mass murderer. This is insanity, okay? And then here's Jennifer Drake. If she got $1 million life insurance policy, what does she do? Well, I'm just going to sue the Moores for more money. Wow. Okay. And you can't find any connections. Everybody says that this guy's awesome. They adore him, blah, blah. Well, that's funny because when you ask the sister of Jennifer Drake and you ask the brother-in-law of Brian Drake, who's, the sister's husband, they're over here spilling their guts to law enforcement, saying that, oh my God, Brian's doing this and Brian's doing that. But more importantly, they're talking about what a controlling fucking bitch Jennifer Drake is. Like, just totally, like, just saying, like, oh God, yeah, no, she's intense. Like, she's ridiculous. She's, like, so hard to live with. Like, he's got to get away. And it's just like, and then here's Tolson. Moving on to the next question. Like, oh, really? Tell us more about that. No. Doesn't want to hear anything to do about Jennifer Drake. Well, that's prime suspect number 1. And until you can move off of her, talking about, what was the other crazy shit? that Brian Drake was just carrying water bottles around everywhere he went. And the family knew that it was just straight vodka in those water bottles. But the only person that didn't know was Jennifer Drake. Tolson's asking every patient, hey, could you smell Brian's breath that day? Did it smell like alcohol to you? No, it didn't. This one woman, God bless her. I won't even say her name. I have the best sense of smell that there is. I would know if my doctor was drunk while treating me. Welby, he was drunk. Motherfucker, yep, drunk. I still can't even get over that Van Leuven has the audacity to say that, well, there's a couple reasons that a shell casing or casings couldn't be there. It could have just stayed in the car. It could have been like, a revolver, didn't have one. Or, one of the crime scene, one of the officers, first responders, got one of the slugs kind of logged up into their boot, the sole of their boot. And I'm like, did that motherfucker just say that he thinks one of the law enforcement officers could have stepped on the shell casing when he's saying that the gun was shot from outside, penetrating through the window, and therefore, your shell casing would be outside of the window because they never went inside the office. But now he's alluding to the fact that there's the reason that there could not possibly be a shell casing is because one of his officers that was the first responders could have stepped on the shell casing and they walked off with the slug in its boot. And I'm thinking to myself, well, fuck. No wonder Idaho 4 case is so frustrating to someone like Mr. Gonzalez, who's like, what the fuck's going on here? Well, if the case is being investigated by people that have absolutely no brains. That's what the problem is. The hot tub Christian lifestyle. So if you guys have been following along like the Karen Reed case, Karen Reed and Dr. Moore are like the same type of case, okay? And so I would like to see, Dr. Moore's case start to get more, attention. So I'm just going to have to start releasing some shit. But more importantly, don't you think that Brian Drake deserves some justice? That fucking miserable bastard had to deal with that controlling bitch every fucking single day of his life. So much so that he'd rather sleep on a pull-out couch with a fucking busted up leg, broken back, in Bonner's Ferry with 2,400, Bonner's isn't some glamorous place. He knew nobody. They were trying to ask around in that town. Nobody even knew Drake. He didn't hang out. He had no friends out there. He wasn't hanging out with people. Okay. Who knows what he was doing out there? I hope he had a damn girlfriend. I truly hope he did. Unbelievable. Oh God, you guys, I saw the praying hot tub. I got more about that. Ready? Not only was the praying hot tub a big part of the, in investigation questions, but at the, you know how you make like a slide at a funeral? Well, I really like this dude. He was a cool person to talk to. The one guy that's a really good friend of Brian's, back when he was, they grew up together, he was like all pumped and excited about that they put together like a really sweet slideshow for him. And he tells Tolson and Van Leuven that they could go ahead and check out the board and check out the pictures, and they'll see one of the hot tub pictures made the board. I said, shut the fuck up. So, yeah, that hot tub pic, can only imagine. I'm gonna see if I can get my hands on it. So, say what? The officer stepped on a shell casing and walked up with it? Yeah, that's what he said. Fucking straight is like, and then one of the guys said, oh yeah, I was, Brian was, I don't know, Facebook messaging with somebody, and he just, he's always accountable. So he just owned it. He said, yeah, he was messaging with a couple of different females. And then here's Jennifer. He doesn't even have Facebook. No, Jennifer, you're that couple that share a Facebook page. That's you, girl. Jennifer and Brian Drake. That's that couple. Okay. You guys all know that couple. That means you don't trust your man as far as you can throw him, girl. Okay. But Jennifer and Brian Drake have a joint Facebook page. We all know. Okay, girl. Okay. Yes, Miss Kelly. Can you believe it? They were all sitting around in the hot tub and it made the photo booth. So I will be getting my hands on the praying hot tub. Anyways, so I don't know what's more ridiculous. The answers and the questions that some, of these people gave, the fact that they all know the truth and they're just acting like something completely different happened, or that these people have been investigators for, I don't know, 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Because I can only imagine who the fuck else they've screwed over. So Miss Kelly's dying. Short leash. Yeah. Hello, good people. Hello. Anyways, I just get so fired up about it because it's like, I don't think that they're intelligent. I'm sorry, but the questions that they ask are just like, there's no follow-ups to anything. There's not like when something would catch you off guard. If someone said to you, if 4 people tell you that they had the same 3:15 or 4 o'clock or 4:30 time they were supposed to meet Dr. Drake, wouldn't you kind of say, why is Dr. Drake scheduling everybody at the same time? I mean, would that not kind of like be like, what the fuck type of question? Because I think that would be just, woo. So much so that the one lady, bless her heart, she said, I mean, I'm not trying to like, out him in any type of way, but like there was these 2 times when I would come there, it was taking forever. I was waiting, but there was like no noises at all coming from his office. It was just like silent. Normally like you're going to hear if a chiropractor's like working on you or something, like maybe they're talking to you or they're like working you out, maybe there's some grunting or something. She's like, there were these couple times I went and it was really awkward because I waited a very long time, but there was no noises coming from, like, it was just like dead silent. And then a guy would walk out of there. And then on another occasion, the same thing, but it was like a different guy. And on those 2 occasions, I was like waiting forever. And it was these 2 dudes. And they weren't the same guy each time. And I don't know who they are. And she thought that was weird. And that she wanted to bring it to the police's attention. And then she said that, and then this other time that she was there, she thought that it was weird that this really good looking guy came in. He had dark hair, he looked like a construction worker. He took off his boots. And she's like, that's just not normal. And then before she went in, because she was waiting for someone to come out, he says, oh, do you know if he's running behind? I have the 3:30. And she's like, well, I'm at 3:15. So like, yeah, you're after me, I guess. And she comes out after she had gone in. She comes out, and this dude is then he is laying on the couch. And she's like, I don't even know if he was sleeping. No, what was good? She said, I'd never seen anybody laying on the couch. I said, what? She said, yeah, there's the chair over there, and then there's the couch, and this guy was just laying on the couch. I said, were his boots on? And his boots were off. And she says, did you know who he was? I've never seen him before in my life. Never seen him again afterwards, I said, oh my God. What if yeah. So I don't know. Anyways, welcome to Truth and Transparency. Deborah, proud fan, beast mode. Thank you. Appreciate your membership. What is up? Is that Sherry? What is up, Sherry? Anyways, got a lot more, but I'm just in work mode, so just thought I'd update you. It's all ignorant. It's ridiculous. Like, these people can't be this dumb that's investigating this. Like, and then you're gonna just say, yeah, it's pronounced right. Thank you. Then to just go and blame somebody. We're just gonna go pick up this Dr. Moore guy. Like, why? Are you fucking dumb? Like, how are you gonna be able to sell this? Well, I did my homework. They were piecing this all together to put this together to frame Dr. Moore 2 months prior. Almost the exact amount of time it took for the 7 weeks to arrest Brian Kohlberger. They started working on this shit in May slightly, but hardcore June, July, and then they already had warrants for search warrants. It didn't matter what Dr. Moore was going to say when they, told him to come down with that gun and let's, oh, can we talk to you for a second? He was getting arrested that day. It didn't matter what he was saying. They already had search warrants signed. Okay. They lured him out of there. And then these guys just acted like straight up fucks. Like, what a bunch of dumb asses. Okay. We don't need to read you your Miranda rights. Miranda rights are for stupid people. Like, who says that on a recording? Like, what a chump. What cop says that? A fucking dumb, ignorant one. That's who says that shit. Miranda rights are for stupid people. Well, that played loud and proud in the courtroom, which, yeah. And then you're over here selling it to the family that the only reason this is the killer, okay? And, well, then how about this, Jennifer Drake? Go sue the fucking county. Go sue the city, okay, for wrongful death. Or maybe you can't sue them because they're protecting you, but you're suing the wrong people. And you should have never sued them in the first place, because then I would have never known about it. Fucking to get up and literally put in an affidavit the shit that they did in this case, knowing what they knew. The lies, man. So yeah, I will debate anybody when it comes to Idaho PCAs all day. When you got the same people working the case, and it's what you call groupthink, yeah. And they're doing the same type of what they want to call investigative tactics and fucking, threatening people's kids. Well, we're going to get your son down here, Mr. Moore, and if it's his gun, we're going to do this and we're going to do that. The fuck? That's like, Al Smith says, wow, I didn't even know that part. Yeah, there's a lot to this case that people don't know. And it's because, guess what? The media, there's a reason that there was hardly any media surrounding this case. They didn't want people to be talking about it because it doesn't take a rocket scientist to put it together. So I'll just take it upon myself to just start releasing stuff. We did a FOIA request on Jennifer Drake's 911 call. And I want to know why the Kootenai County Sheriff, Detective Ken, I want to know why he called Jennifer Drake that night at 11:34, 11:38 p.m. Because I want to know why your pastor, Pastor John, he made some calls to the local people over there in Coeur d'Alene. He knew some people and he made some phone calls because they were trying to get some answers. And there was a detective that came over to Jen's house that night, allegedly. And I believe his name was Ken. He's a detective. But I want to know why you called the Kootenai County Sheriff's Department after you would have been already informed that your husband was dead. I can promise you that if my significant other was in a different county, in a different state, in a different city, and I knew where they were, working, I can tell you that I would not be calling the fucking sheriff department of my county where I lived and where they were not, and they needed help. Okay. And the best part is going to be when I release Jen's 911 call and when she acts like a hysterical fucking lunatic and it's fucking an hour and a half later. Or it's 45 minutes later, but she's acting like it just happened. And then, oh my God, you need to get over there. Jennifer Drake did not call 911. Period. She says it. She tells the world she doesn't call 911. So where did this 911 call come from? Why did they try to hide the time that Jennifer Drake called 911 if it's not so fucking important to the case? Like if it won't blow up your timeline. And why does Spencer and Brenner Drake, why do they think that Brian Drake was shot in the leg? The word leg never came out of anybody's mouth, meaning Jennifer Drake's. She never said leg to anyone. The only person ever used the term leg was Brenner Drake. But he supposedly got the information from his mom. I think it's because the person that shot him thought that they shot him in the leg. Do you know that the EMS that arrived at that scene, they didn't even attempt to work on Drake, number one. But number two, they put the 911 caller said that there was 2 gunshots. Not one, but 2. And that Van Leuven just totally just says 1. But number 3, that the EMS people put in their report that they believe that Dr. Drake, who they didn't even know was Dr. Drake at the time, that he did not die from a gunshot wound because they could not find any blood. They could not find anything. Nada. They couldn't find a fucking bullet entry. They couldn't find shit. Well, it's because he was wearing a dark sweater, then they'll come out and say. And he had a white t-shirt under his sweater, and then it absorbed up the blood, and then you couldn't tell it was blood with his dark sweater. I'm just thinking to myself, like, they truly could not find this so much that they put it in a report and it's stuck, and they didn't try to take it out to hide that that's what the initial findings were. So much so that they forgot to change the initial report that said that there was 2 gunshots heard by the eyewitness, 2, not 1. And then who would ever give out information? Why would anybody that's close to the family know there was no shell casings? How would anybody know there were no shell casings at that scene? Who the fuck would know that? That is a crime scene, very intimate detail. You're not going to tell anybody that, right? If you're law enforcement, you're not telling that. You want to hear people talk about it. You want to hear what people say to you. That's the whole point of why you don't give out information, right? So that when you're interviewing people, when somebody says something to you, it's like, oh, wait a second. Wait, what? Why do you think that, why do you think that Dr. Drake was shot in the head, let's say, but, he wasn't. But when somebody would say something like that to you, you would. So how come when these idiots are interviewing people and these people are knowing shit that they should not know, how come these fucking dumb fucks don't say, how do you know that? Or where did you hear that from? How about that question? Who told you that? We're not saying that it's right or wrong, but we want to know where you're getting your information. Because the stuff that was accurate, that's what they teach you 101. If they're nailing stuff from the crime scene, like that's red flags. And so this guy was like, well, we think it was a hit because the person picked up they picked up the shell casing. Don't you think the follow-up to that would be like, well, who told you that they picked up a shell casing? And who would put the fuck a hit? That's what his good friend, a hit? This is a hit? His friends say that this is a hit. A fucking hit. And that, hey, he's like, I'm 6'2", man. There's no way that somebody's just walking up to this window and shooting through this window at 6'2", like it's not possible. That window's too low. We all rolled out there when we flew in town for the funeral. We all went out to the crime scene and we checked it all out. Y'all did what? Oh yeah, we went out there. We think this is a hit. This is a hit. And then they said, well, had whoever, because they're going with this whole theory that Dr. Drake was shot through this fucking window. And all it takes is a fucking second grader to do some math to know that Sally Akins came back with her ME report and said that it was an upward angled shot to Dr. Drake. Upward angle. How in the world do you have an upward angle through the back? Okay, it was not downward, it was upward. How do you write in a PCA that there was that it was a downward shot in his back when the ME's report says it was an upward angled trajectory? How can you fucking even write that in the PCA? And you're saying that you did it from some laser ass and using a measuring stick. Well, I apologize wherever the fuck you went to school. Okay. But like, don't you think that takes some balls to sit here and write up a PCA and you have all this information in front of you and you look at the ME's report and it says that, fuck, dude, the angle that she's got, it's, penetrating through this to this and it wasn't an upward angle. We need to, hey, Tolson, we need to go back. Something isn't right here. And then when you would say to yourself, oh, wait, look at the original report that there was 2 gunshots. Well, maybe that last one was superficial so that you fucking people would think that he got shot through like you thought. Okay. But why don't you ask Eldora Gatchel if she locked the door on her way out? Because how would Drake's door be locked? Do you think he just locked it before he just called his wife right away? He walked over the door to hurry up and lock it? I don't think so. And there was then his patient to waiting room door was locked, or was it somebody that could have just like twisted it to like lock it, on their way out? But all of these things, and you're gonna go ahead and write up a PCA that says, and then I can't understand for the life of me, right? Well, what would be why can't they just say that somebody actually shot him that was inside the office? You know what I'm saying? What's the problem why does it have to be that he was shot through the window? Why could it never be that the encounter was actually face to face? I don't know, because we didn't bother to DNA test anything. We didn't run anything. They have water bottles there. How do you know that those were all his water bottles? Maybe it was somebody else was there. Maybe the people that were in that room, you're not gonna dust anything. You don't know who. Did you guys run any of the clothing on Brian Drake through anything? Was there any like hair on him, or I don't know, fibers or fucking semen? I don't know. It's just wild, right? You would think that this is just like, we're ISP detectives, like we know what we're doing. Right. Same guys that are on the Idaho 4 case. Keep going. Anyways, that's a wrap. Yeah, Brian Drake was only shot one time only. And I think that I'm going to go ahead and go with the ME's report all day, every day over fucking Van Leuven in his fucking makeshift. Well, we measured it, you know, but I don't even remember the measurements. This is what he was saying on the stand. Well, I mean, he could have been holding his gun like the downward angle or like an upward angle, or like, you know, his arm could have been bent a little bit, and it's like, but it's impossible if somebody's hunched over, like you say, to shoot from the window and have it be upward. If you're bent over the way that you're saying in a stool, how can it be an upward shot? Can you just explain that? But then I said, why is even this motherfucker explaining shit? I wouldn't ask him a damn thing. I'm gonna ask the ME to come in, you know, and show. I have no idea why the ME wasn't there at the preliminary hearing. Why wouldn't you ask the ME? Well, it was, you know, this, that, you know what I mean? That's what you would do, right? Fuck, I don't know. And then you would basically be able to show that why would Van Leuven put in his PCA that it was a downward when you had the report of the ME way before you ever wrote that, you know, PCA up. So you didn't think that maybe your work was wrong? You didn't maybe think to talk to the ME, like, wait a second. Like, can we kind of compare stuff, or like, oh no, because we didn't do any of that. We don't have any work like that. We don't have any. Wait, you said you sent stuff to some labs. Where are these lab reports? Where's any of your fucking work? There is no work. You guys didn't do anything. You guys sat back and let a woman collect her $1 million life insurance policy lickety split quick, and I don't fuck know what else y'all did. So, but until next time, guys. Again, same people on the Kohlberger case. These are your same nuts. Oh, you've done a wonderful job uncovering this bizarre and sick case. Yeah, I got a lot more because I want to know which one of these holy rollers that hide behind God and that they're so godly people and we love the Lord and we give the Lord everything. Well, I want to know what Lord-loving person is going to come forward in that group and tell the fucking truth. Because I'm only going to give you guys a little bit more time before I spray it the fuck out there. So keep hiding behind God, and I'm going to keep putting out the truth because it's disgusting. It's fucking sick. Anyways, good night. Peace. Bye.